So with the news of Mass Effect 3 finally coming to Steam and having a lot of horrible performance issues, it kind of goes to show you how badly the port from Origin to Steam went, with all kinds of mixed reviews here. So I don't know what's going on, but bravo for finally getting the game on Steam for people. Took you, what, 8 years? Like, okay. Anyway, there's other news from a QA tester from EA who's apparently been working on the remaster of the Mass Effect series. Now, already this sounds a little fishy. There's lots of specific details which make it maybe a bit more credible, but we actually understand what they've done. Apparently, they've converted games from the Unreal Engine to the Frostbite engine. So already I'm thinking that's crazy. You're taking 3 complete games, moving them over to another engine, and unless there's some crazy pipeline or software that does it for you instantly, that sounds like a lot of work to get things working into another engine for the sake of it. Why would you bother doing that? Just update the graphics and optimize some stuff, port it over, and that's that. So this is more than just a remaster. This is almost a remake in certain regards. So let's go through all 3 games here on Reddit, which is mostly speculative. So, major graphical and gameplay changes. Gameplay is more in line with Andromeda fluidity, but instead of the original weapon and armor systems in that game, it's more streamlined like Mass Effect 3. So they've redone how weapons are done in Mass Effect 1. Interesting. I'm all for that. That sounds cool. However, this game has the least robust gameplay of the 3 in the remaster. Okay, so he's talking about gameplay, not necessarily gunplay or using weapons. So if it's more like Mass Effect 3, great. You're going to have a more consistent narrative. You're going to have more consistent gameplay. That's great. Obviously, some options are only stuck into Mass Effect 2 and 3, which is understood. So great. You don't know Vanguard charging yet, perhaps. No QuickTime events in that regard, or any major things like rolling and sticking to walls quickly. But that's fine. If you want more consistent remastering with gunplay, I think that's a good thing. All the guns are going to be the same. The change in gameplay has also altered some of the level design. Benezia is no longer in the room with the Arachnite Queen, and in a more open environment. Both of Saren's battles have had the environments expanded to offer better options for gameplay. Now that's interesting because in Mass Effect 1 you were already not confined to cover, but you were allowed to walk around. Biotics were a lot more powerful. Shields were a lot more powerful. So I don't know exactly how this translates to better gameplay or more open gameplay, but I'm curious to see how those are changed. Planet exploration, this is going to be weird, has been changed to be more in line with Mass Effect 3 planet scanning. So you get to land on the planets or not. However, there are still a few planets to land on. Okay, do not expect Andromeda-sized open worlds. I would say every planet combined is about equal to EOS in terms of size and areas to explore. This game is still a very linear experience. Okay, so maybe they've streamlined again the planet exploration for Mass Effect 3 and included its planet scanning mechanic. All right, I'm fine. I'm just curious if they start counting probes like in Mass Effect 2. Galaxy map and galaxy exploration in Mass Effect 3 version, but more to explore. Okay, so they've obviously redone things to be more in line with Mass Effect 3. All for it. Making things the same. You don't want big jumps in gameplay like they experimented with Mass Effect 2 and all those probes. If I had to make a comparison, the game graphical looks similar to Dragon Age Inquisition. It's not a next-gen title, but Mass Effect remade in the current-gen Frostbite engine, and that's what I'm very skeptical of. Character models look good, but look even better in the Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 versions of the remaster. And you could easily say that Mass Effect 2 and 3 look pretty good in a jump from 1. So you have to imagine what it's like in Frostbite. So I guess lots of alien trees with lots of good shading. Cut quests from the original game have been added to the remaster. Maybe about 2 to 3 hours of gameplay. Interesting. Saren has more backstory shown through cutscenes. So I don't know what the heck they cut in Mass Effect 1 for quests, but they brought them back. Great. And Saren having more backstory and having more cutscenes is always a great idea. So, looking cool. I'm still curious about the gameplay. If you're going to have heavy weapons or You're going to have that cane weapon strapped to your back. That'd be interesting to see. Shepard's cabin has been added to Mass Effect 1. Why? That was no... The design of the original Normandy was supposed to be Spartan and tight and small. There's no room for a cabin. You had Anderson's little room that he gave to Shepard, but that was it. Companions are no longer stashed in the cargo hold. Okay, so they get to walk around maybe? The sacrifice scene has new cutscenes added to show the fates of the squad members from their perspective. You're also able to start romances earlier if you're romancing the one who was not left behind. There's an added moment after that particular love interest. I was told it's one of the few moments that Shepard is vulnerable. And that's interesting because there's no mention of Shepard having a homosexual relationship with Kaidan if it's male. So I guess they kept that out. But it's kind of curious that they brought back quests that were cut out as well. So why cut out all the homosexual content? Why not make Shepard more consistent? Unless they're going to have a coming out moment in Mass Effect 2 or 3. Bring Down the Sky and Pinnacle Station are included. Okay, that's fine. Hub areas are more lively. On the Citadel, there's more NPC interactions, ambient conversations. So it's very similar to Mass Effect 3 in that regard. Okay, cool. Mass Effect 2, here we go. Major graphical gameplay changes, fine. Gameplay is more like Andromeda, yada yada, same as before. Character models are noticeably improved. Graphically, it is still on par with Dragon Age Inquisition. Planet scanning is back. And more in line with Mass Effect 3. Okay. More hub worlds. Interesting. I like that. The Presidium and wards in Mass Effect 1 have been added with obvious environmental changes from Mass Effect 1. Parts of Omega that was cut from the base game have been added. Okay, so even more content. Good to hear. All the DLC has been added. That's a lot of DLC for Mass Effect 2. Cut quests and content have been re-added. They have made the game more adult. And in certain romance scenes, environments are no longer strategically non-nude. Okay, so you get to see nudity. That's fine. If you romance Kaidan or Ashley from the first, there's extra content and those characters later in the epilogue of the game. Okay, that's nice because the Virmire Survivor usually got a shortcut of content for Mass Effect 2. They had that one scene on Virmire, that was, or on, was it not Haystrom? What's the name of the planet where they fight the collectors for the first time? Their ship, at least. I can't remember. Anyway, that's nice to know. They get more content instead of being shafted. As you complete a rival, which only activates after you beat the main quests, they have added the extra content of Shepard turning himself into the Alliance. It's during this epilogue that you can interact with Kaidan or Ashley briefly. Okay, so they connected the DLC with the main story, hopefully. That's good. These are all good ideas that in afterthought you go, oh, this probably should have been part of the main game. So it's a more concise package. It's still a pile of crap, but at least it's making more sense. At least it has content that matches up with the main story, even if it is an afterthought. Fine. Like the previous two games, Mass Effect 3 also includes major graphical gameplay changes, more like Andromeda, and it keeps the core Mass Effect 3 inventory. Okay. You get to play an extremely brief prologue as Admiral Anderson prior to the Reaper invasion. That's interesting. Allows players to see a little bit of Earth prior to its destruction, which was a major complaint from the original release. Interesting. I think that's great. Looks similar to Mass Effect 2 remaster graphically. Character models might have some incremental improvements, but unless you view them side by side, it's hard to tell. Planet and war asset system returns, but it's easier to manage, and you cannot unlock asset quests until you reach certain points in the game. I'm not sure what asset quests are, but I'm assuming it's related to the war asset system. Or hub worlds, very cool. All of the DLC from the base game has been added and are considered main quests, so you can't miss them. Some cut content has also been included, about 5 hours worth. Okay. Also, something else is new is that if you play as female Shepard, you can also sleep with Arya. Oh dear. After the Omega mission, as long as you are not currently in a relationship with anyone else. So they have So they have a romance option with Arya. Apparently Arya doesn't like that. Like the Mass Effect 2 remaster, they have made some more adult options, as in certain romance scenes and environments are no longer strategically non-nude. So they're being more adult with their romance options. That's fine. They also have a bit more to the ending of the game. Oh God. Here's where it all comes crashing down. Any romance interest you have, assuming they are still alive, will be able to have a physical in-person goodbye with Shepard before the final mission. Okay, so I'm assuming before the scene with Harbinger with the Normandy. I'm assuming before that. So there's a little extra. They already have that scene with everyone, so I'm assuming there's a little touch more. Which is kind of curious because I'm wondering how Miranda is going to be handled since she's a Skype call. So, Ending has not been changed in any capacity. Oh, God. So pretty much this is all a giant waste of time, folks. However, some of the cut content is more towards the end of the game. All right, so they are adding some more extra stuff. But the ending is essentially just as bad as you remember. So all of this is for nothing. Okay? All the extra additions, it doesn't mean a damn thing if the ending is exactly the same. Oh, God, I think my stomach just turned. Oh, okay. Well, yay. Bravo, Bioware, for finally remastering the game everyone wanted remastered, the entire trilogy, and completely screwing the ending as normal. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you're having a better day than me. Oh.